All right, so we've done the West and we've done the East. Mosse, since it's the last week and the Major League Soccer MVP award is only based on the regular season, I thought, as I do each and every year, that I would give you my criteria for my pick when it comes to MLS MVP. As those that have followed us before and for any length of time will know that choosing an MVP in Major League Soccer is subjective. MLS, purposely or not purposely, I don't know, but they do not give us any criteria by which to judge the candidates other than what we think is good or valuable. So over the years, in an effort to kind of simplify things and to provide some level of transparency, I have made up my own criterion. So once again, this is how it goes. Number one, it is all about goal scorers. Scoring a goal is the only way to win a game. So there is nothing more, quote unquote, valuable than those that do it. So it's only about goal scorers, right? Number two, it's not about how many goals you score, but it's about how many different games you score in. Because I want the player who is consistently scoring in more games, even if his season total might not give him the golden boot. Number three, I don't count penalties. Sorry. I mean, you can at me, you can send your tweets in and stuff like that. I do not count penalties. They do just, for me, they just do not hold the same value as goals from the run of play. I actually think, and I've said this before, Mosse, penalties should be in a separate statistical column, okay? They can warp perception and they can skew the assessment of a player. And finally, if you are my MVP, you have to be on a team that makes the playoffs. When half of the league in Major League Soccer makes the playoffs, at the very least, a league MVP should be from a playoff team. So those are my criteria. Each year I get my data together and I send it off to Paul Carr, the great Paul Carr, and he's got fancy machines over there. And he puts it in and he spits it out. And on the way to work today, he said that as we sit here today, again on Wednesday, October 5th, leading my MVP race with the weekend to go is Driussi, okay? And he is, when you all told, he's 15 of the criteria that I have. He's 15. At 14 is Arango and Vasquez. And then at 12, it's Ferreira, Gazdag, and Chicharito. Some of you might be saying, well, you know, where's Hany Mukhtar? Well, he's actually down at 11. So he's not winning my MVP. Neither is Ferreira, Gazdag, or Chicharito. Any one of Driussi, Arango, and Vasquez could ultimately win it, depending on what happens this weekend. Now, over the years, because, Mosse, I'm a huge influencer, all right? And people have tried to sway me one way or the other, and they've tried to ply me with extravagant gifts. This is one of those gifts here, Mosse. This is sent to me by the good people over there at Nashville. And look, this is wonderful. I thank them. This is a Hany Mukhtar record, vinyl. I don't know if there's audio files out there, but this is a vinyl record. And it's actually, there is a record. I don't have a record player. I'm not one of those vinyl people, but evidently producer Sean does have a record player, so he's going to find out what's on it. And this is them signed, by the way, right here. This is them lobbying for Mukhtar to be the MVP. And on the back, instead of your track listing, it basically has side A, side B of all of the different goals he scores. It's actually very clever. Probably cost them a good penny, but you know, they're supporting their guy out there. Over the years, I've gotten a lot of these different things. Some more creative than others, some better than others. This is one of the better ones, I will say. But again, since I have my criteria, that's just the way that it goes. Agree? Disagree? Please send in your comments to me. Mosse, you've seen me go through this spiel now a number of years. Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I've expressed my displeasure with your formula.
And why is that?
First of all, I don't agree with the premise that it has to be a goal scorer. I've seen plenty of teams in my day where I thought a midfielder was the most important player on the team.
But you would agree that the most valuable thing in soccer is putting the ball in the back of the net.
Sure.
Okay.
And your criteria doesn't allow for how much talent a guy had around him, factoring in the degree of difficulty of a guy having less talent around them and what type of team he played on. There's just not a lot of leeway there for sort of the eye test human element if you're just going to adhere strictly to this mathematical
You think
formula.
it's much too mathematical,
Right.
data-driven, much more robotic.
And,
It's strict.
You have come up with a formula, which means that Hany Mukhtar isn't even in the conversation for you, which sort of flies in the face of every sort of smart, knowledgeable person that's followed this MLS season.
It wouldn't be the first time.
So that is something to think about, but nevertheless, that's the way you've chosen to go. It is what it is.
Fine. Make your own criteria. All right, listen. Like I said, let me know if you agree or disagree. I mean, you will, whether I want you to or not. But I do actually want to hear from you when it comes to maybe you have your own criteria as to who should be and why the MLS MVP. And again, it will stop. The voting will stop at the end of this weekend, and may the best man win. You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops every week. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.